Today, emerging from behind those gigantic gold-plated doors, wait till we get this at the White House, was Vladimir Putin. Today was Vladimir Putin's annual State of the Nation address. He said he looked forward to mutually beneficial relations with the next American administration. He also said that the new U.S.-Russian relationship he's looking forward to could only work, quote, on the basis of equality, mutual respect for interests, and non-interference in the internal affairs of each other. Non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Like each other's elections? In October, the month before our presidential election, the Department of Homeland Security and the Director of National Intelligence officially and formally declared that Russia was meddling in our election by, among other things, hacking into the Democratic Party servers. Then, right after the election, the head of the NSA put a pretty fine point on it. He publicly affirmed, unequivocally, that Russia, yes, did hack into the U.S. election in order to achieve a specific result.
There shouldn't be any doubt in anybody's mind. This was not something that was done casually. This was not something that was done by chance. This was not a target that was selected purely arbitrarily. This was a conscious effort by a nation state to attempt to achieve a specific effect.
Conscious effort by a nation state, Russia, to attempt to achieve a specific effect in our election. That's what we've got publicly from the U.S. government about Russia messing with our presidential election this year, which is honestly profoundly unsettling even at this distance. And it still raises the question of what we as a country are going to do about it. But now today, we got an amazing new mysterious plot twist. And it came from the Democratic senators who are on the Intelligence Committee. Look at this. They today released this cryptic, very short, open letter to the president. The whole thing is 3 sentences long, and one of them is just thanks. Look, this is the whole thing. Ready? Quote, "Dear Mr. President, we believe there is additional information concerning the Russian government and the U.S. election that should be declassified and released to the public. We're conveying specifics through classified channels. Thank you for your attention to this important matter." And that's it, signed by 7 Democratic senators on the Intelligence Committee. What is this additional information concerning the Russian government and the U.S. election that they want declassified? They say they are sending specifics through classified channels. What is this about? We can report tonight that the Republican senators on the Intelligence Committee were also invited to add their names to this very short, very intriguing letter, but all the Republicans declined. The architect of this letter is Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. Today we spoke with Senator Wyden's office to basically try to pry some more information out of them on this, to try to figure out what this is about. But that was a total no-go. They were 100% tight-lipped with us. Whatever they're referring to here is classified. They're keeping it classified, but they're letting us know through this open letter that they have sent it to the president and they want him to talk about it to the rest of us. What's this about? What could this be about? Joining us now is Michael McFault. He's former U.S. ambassador to Russia. He's now professor of political science at Stanford University. Mr. Ambassador, it's nice to see you. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
What do you make of this 3-sentence letter from these senators tonight? What's your reaction to this?
Well, first of all, I don't know the intelligence that they're referring to, right? I've been out of the government for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. But it's rather unprecedented that they would go public to ask the executive branch to declassify information like this. I can't remember ever that happening when I was in the government. It obviously means that they have read intelligence because they have clearances that is deeply disturbing about what Russia did during our election. And while the President Obama, is still at the White House, they want to get that information out to the American people. I could speculate about different hypotheses about it, but it seems to me it must be something serious. They wouldn't do this otherwise.
It seems to me that there are 2 possibilities here. One is that they know something that is so materially different than what has been disclosed thus far by the head of the NSA, by the Director of National Intelligence, by Homeland Security Director. They know something so materially different that it will change the conversation and really sort of wake people up to the magnitude of what Russia did here. The other possibility is that they're just frustrated that there hasn't been more of a public response to what the government has already said about Russian intervention in the election, and they're hoping to keep the story going, or at least draw more attention to it by getting some more information out there, even if it's not materially different. On that latter point, have you been surprised that there hasn't been more of a reaction in the public and in our political system to what we know about what Russia did?
Yes, of course. I'm so glad you read that statement by President Putin, because that's a statement they've been reading for 30 or 40 years, by the way. It goes back to Soviet times, this non-interference clause. And already we do know that they intervened. I mean, there's no doubt that they hacked the DNC and stole that information from a party, and then that had political consequences because of what WikiLeaks did with it. And because of the partisan electoral nature of the debate before the election, we could never talk about the national security implications of this in a serious way. But now is the right time to do it, and I'm glad they're putting pressure on the administration. I know that they didn't want to do it. The White House did not want to do it during the election, because they, ironically, if you think about what happened over with the FBI, but they did not want to put their thumb on the scale one way or the other in the electoral process. But now it's over. We should be able to know what these representatives know, and then make our own decisions about what happened with the Russian interference.
To be clear, you're saying that the White House didn't want to talk about this more publicly during the election because they felt like it would essentially be intervening on Hillary Clinton's behalf in the election, because it would be implicating Russia and trying to help Trump win?
Correct.
Dramatic stuff. Michael McFaul, former U.S. ambassador to Russia, now professor of political science at Stanford. Appreciate your time tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That's kind of a dramatic revelation, isn't it? I'm not sure if that has been reported elsewhere, but we will see what becomes of the relationship between the new administration and the Russian government. But what we know already, even without new disclosures that have been asked for by these Democratic senators, what we know already about the way Russia tried to help Trump win